Hi everyone, welcome to the Knitting Den. This is episode number 125 and today is Tuesday, August 12th. Al fresco once again with my friend the fly. The weather's can you shoot? I'm trying to do a show here. The weather's been gorgeous in the mornings, so we're lucky enough to get outside again. I'm on the picnic bench. Not my dog is not out yet, and my little one has not come out. I've left her in the house. Yeah, my name is Denise. I'm also known as Knitting Den on Ravelry and Instagram. Welcome returning viewers, friends. Thanks for coming back and sitting down with me. I hope you have your favourite drink. Look what I found. I found another Starbucks mug. I have the Colorado one, and I found the Denver one, and I have a California one, California, from my sweet friend Michelle. So that's 3 I have. Where was I? I want to welcome new viewers if you watch them for the first time. Thanks for stopping by and checking out the show. I hope you enjoy it and come back and watch more. Join the Ravelry group if you haven't done so already. And speaking of the Rav group, thanks to everyone that has already joined in the past week, and special thank yous to those that left an introduction. Oh look, my coffee's gone cold, so I'm going to prop my notes up on my cup. I want to say a special welcome to Tanglust. That's Kinder in Maryland. Hi, Kinder. Puffy Griffin Claw, who is Cindy, and she's in Rochester, New York. Or near New York. Knits and Pearls Gal, who is Michelle. Hi Michelle. She is in, and this is confusing from last week, I think her profile says I want to call it Eau Claire in Wisconsin. But I think someone last week was from something very similar, and I said it was Eau Claire because there wasn't an S in it. So I don't know what's right or wrong. You just can figure it out if you're from that area. I want to say hi to Steffi Knitting, who is Steffi, and she's in Germany. Daisy Knitter, who is Linda, and she's in Durham. I think she's planning on meeting up with Dan and Kay from the Bakery Bears podcast, if I'm not mistaken, for their picnic in September. And Daisy Knitter, Linda's family, hubby's family, is from Sunderland, and that's where I'm from. Small, small world. But Linda herself is actually from Cambridge, which is still a small world because I actually worked in Cambridge around about the time I was meeting hubby, about 17 years ago. Okay, so that's welcome to everyone. Thank you for leaving your introduction. I haven't replied in the group yet. I will get to that, but I like to say hello on the podcast, obviously, as well. News. Sorry. School started yesterday, can you believe that? Kiki went to school, she starts 8th grade. I did put a couple of pictures on Instagram. I think I might try to insert or add them to the end of the show. I take a picture of her every first school day, every year, always have done. So I'll put a few of them on the end. There's they're very similar. I just like to get a picture of her to see, you know, the difference if she's grown or looking older. In-laws, they are not being held captive in the house, not keeping them hostage. They left this morning about an hour ago. They're driving back to Texas, and it's just me and hubby in the house with the puppies until Kristen gets home. And this time of year it's just beautiful. The weather, as I said, is gorgeous. I'm going to swing you around and see if you can see, let me see, the blue sky with the, I don't know how far to go for you to see it. I think I might have to, hang on. I'm not sure if you, I have no idea what you can see. So I'll edit that out if you can't see anything. You could see that's where I was sitting with the light streaming through like that, and I'm trying, excuse me, not to have the light shining down like that. Alright, let's jump on. Let's jump ahead. Let's move ahead. It's going to be one of those shows. Sorry. Okay, I'll leave it like that. iTunes, I still got to apologise. For some reason, the show's not showing up on iTunes for some. It's not showed up, last week's episode did not show up for me, and I only know of one person who said they can see it on iTunes. Episode 124, Nuala, who is in Ireland, she can see it. I think she said previously she has had to unsubscribe and subscribe, so there might be something wrong with the RSS feed that Podcast Garden has. I haven't had a chance to look into it. Now that things are settling down and, you know, I don't have any company, I'm hoping I get a chance to try and figure that one out. I do upload to YouTube every week. I do forget still to get the link for you and put it in the Ravelry group. Again, I'm just going to try and do better and try and get organised now that the school year has started. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, let's jump into the show, because I know you want to know what's in the den. Ooh, I've got two new well, not new sections, I've got two new names. What's in the den? Apart from all the whips that were shown last week, which I've written down because I kept forgetting what I've got. Tulip socks, I've got the Avalon shawl, the pink shawl, the ribbons and lace, breast cancer awareness shawl, the Iwi, which is a sweater, and I think that's about it, other than the mittens, the Cloudland mittens. I frogged them, so I haven't got them either. So what's in the den, we'll go quickly again. This is going to get a bit monotonous until I get some of the stuff done. And I have to tell you, there is so much, I keep seeing on Ravelry, so much I want to knit, and I have a plan. I'll tell you about that later, so that I can get more knitting done. For now, let me see. This is where I show every week. In the Simply Knitting magazine, I don't know what month it was. Oh, April. I haven't had one since then. I would like to get these every month, but I'm just not close enough to the Barnes & Noble. And I don't want to get the online version because I don't like reading magazines or books on an iPad. It's just not the same. But for any new viewers, or for those who have got a bad memory, like me, I'm knitting Forest Elf. It's a very long cardigan jacket. It's a hooded jacket. And I'm knitting it in, and I don't think I've got the ball band because I didn't bring the bag. I'm knitting it in some wool, and let's see if we can do this off the top of my head. It's 80% Highland wool or Peruvian wool, if there's a difference, and 20% alpaca. And it's in a green like this, like in the magazine, but it's like a deep, what I call a kind of like a hunter green. You're not going to see the colours very well because of the outside lighting. This is all I've got done. Excuse me. I didn't put a little doohickey in, so I don't know how much of this I knit last week. This is the left side now, and very plain, except I can move the thing. A very simple cable. I'm not sure if that's showing. There you go. 4 stitches, 2 crossed over the 2. That's a very small cable on the edge. That's all I got done. I'm about to join another ball of yarn, so not having anything hanging on that. Didn't get much of that done. And the other thing, one of the things I didn't bring out was the square for my legacy blanket. Still didn't get that finished. As I said, so much I want to knit and I'm just not getting the time right now, but I am so looking forward to getting organised. Don't I say that every week? Anyway, the next thing, still in the den, and it's rather new, and I'm trying out my knotted bag, the grab and go that I've called it. This is also known as a Japanese knot bag or a grab bag, and I'm trying this style myself before I decide on whether I put it in the shop or not. This one has got pockets in it, but they're not very deep. I think I probably showed it last week. There's some pockets in there, but it needs a little bit of tweaking because the pockets aren't deep enough, and it's kind of like 3 across, and I think they should just be 2, so they're a bit larger as well. But in this cute bag, which the fabric I love, and I do quite, you know, if you grab it like that and then just hook it through, you can put that on your wrist. This, like the drawstring ones, or any with a handle really, is great to knit from because you're going to have your yarn coming out. Look, I can pull my knitting out and I could knit walking around or sitting in the doctor's office or dentist. So what is in there is, I did do just not much, but a tiny little bit on the next shawl I'm wanting to concentrate on, Moon Dance by Jenna Krupa. Paid for pattern on Ravelry, so that's all I'll say. It's beautiful. She's got 2. She just released a new shawl pattern a couple of weeks ago, but I'm doing this one. This is the first one she did. Jenna, oh, I'm in the middle of a row. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. End of a row. Jenna usually does a lot of toy patterns, which are very cute, but she's done these 2 shawls, and I want to knit both of them. I love them. But this is all I've got, and I probably have only done 2 or 3 rows, and again, probably hard to tell with this lighting. I'm using Volmizer. Let me see if I can grab it out of the bag now. I pulled it out the side of the handle in a mixy kind of purple, different kind of shades of purple, and I mean deep purple, not like your royal purple. That's a colour name. So not much done on it, and again I'm going to have to start putting the little doohickeys on so I can keep tabs of how much I do get done on each project. Now that is really all I've worked on, because I was working on something else to finish, which moves us along to, because I know you want to know what left the den this week. I quite like saying that. I'm emphasising the accent too, because I don't normally say no that. Well, I do say no like that, but I know you want to know the forest foliage, and I did not bring the book Botanical Knits 2. Forest foliage is a shawl I was knitting, had a little bit of a mishap a week or 2 ago. Once I messed up, started creating holes as I tinked back. Happy to say, got that sorted out. This is by no means perfect. I ended up with too many stitches on the needle at the end, but by that time I really didn't care because I couldn't see where the mess up was, if there was such a thing. I mean, artist's license or whatever it is you say. Do you want to see it? I don't know how well it's going to show up in this light. I've put a picture on Instagram, and I'll add that perhaps to the end of the show as well, so you can see it really clearly. But here it is. Oh, you can see the leaves. Look at that. and it's totally blocked. I've wove in the ends, or all of them. So this took one skein of Malabrigo sock yarn and about, let's see, 5 yards of a new skein. Seriously, I've had to join yarn on this little edging. Can you believe that? The edging is not perfect, but it looks nice, and I'm not going to, you know, look too closely at it. Nobody is, for that matter. But see if I can. It's the full length, I guess, of my wingspan. If I can grab hold of the other end, it is. That is. My arms are stretched, and it's only, you know, dipping down that much. So that's the size of it. And along the bottom, as you can see, this is very loopy edge, which is it's kind of like a chain stitch, but not crocheted. It's knitted, and I do love it. Now, which way I will wear it, I do not know, or whether I will wear it or not, because it might go to my mom. Let me stand up. If I was to keep it, I might at some point put a little shawl pin in there and wear it, you know, adjust it a little bit, because it does feel nice, and I like that it just sits around here. What do you think? You can't see the leaves as much when you double wrap it, but you can see them all around the back and the sides. I'm so happy that it's off the needles. It was not an easy knit, I'll say that. Now that I've already done one, the next one I knit would be a lot easier, I have to say. I mean, it took a lot of figuring out as you went along. And I can't really explain why it was so difficult. I keep trying to explain to people. I think, let's see which way it is. The difficulty came when you did yarn overs. They're not all shown on the graph, on the chart. You have to assume that there's more yarn overs the more rows you do. And that was the difficult thing for me, figuring out how many. That's all, I don't want to kind of try and explain any more than that. I will say the colourway, which from the Malabrigo sock, was our ball, and I kept saying a couple of times, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. That's how I would pronounce it, our ball. And a couple of weeks ago, I keep forgetting to say this, I want to say thank you to Casey Andrew. He commented on, so you can't really, can you see colours in it? He commented on the name our ball. Believe it or not, it means tree in Spanish. So, of course, that makes sense now, doesn't it? With the leaves. Not the leaves. It's got nothing to do with it. With the colour, it's the colour that's called our ball. This one is just lovely autumnal shades of brown. Yeah, and like you can see bits of green in it. That's gorgeous. I have 2 skeins left. As I said, I broke into one skein for about 3, 4, 5 yards, if that. But there it is, folks, off the needles. And depending on how I do with other knitting, this might go to my mum for our birthday. My original plan was to do the moon dance, excuse me, but I just don't know if I'm going to get a lot of knitting time on it. Okay, let's move on. Knit along winners. I'm going to draw the winners for the Christmas in July KAL, but I'm going to do it live, but I'm going to insert it at the end of the show. That way, if you didn't take part in it and you didn't add any pictures and you're not interested in who won, you can just, you know, stop there, and you don't have to try to fast forward right now. So I'll do that right at the end of the show. If you are wondering if you won, hang on in there, or fast forward to the end of the show. Hopefully I inserted it. So with that, we'll move into the hummingbirds. If I remembered, you might have seen a nice little clip of the hummingbird that was out on the back deck last night while we were sitting eating dinner. And I was very, very close. I was sitting on a chair, and you'll see my fingers almost like I was probably not 12 inches away from it. If I remember to insert it. I'm going to try to. Okay, while we're still talking about knit-alongs though, the drawing at the end of the show, the next knit-along is going to be Pinktober. I've done lots of knit-alongs this year. July was the first one, the next one is going to be October, and I probably won't do one until next year. For those who don't know, Pinktober is a knit-along I've done. This will be the 3rd year, if you can believe that, where it's just to promote breast cancer awareness. I do the knit-along, or the crochet along, or spin along, whatever you do craft-wise. I do that with Kathy from the Knit Nerd podcast. I did contact her yesterday just to see if she was still going to do that. She hadn't recorded for a couple of weeks or so, but she is going to get back to recording through September, and she is going to host as well a Pinktober. So it's for breast cancer awareness. We don't try to raise money, you know, in this particular knit-along. It's just that we want to make everyone aware of well, I can't think of the word. Perhaps they're like symptoms, or just to remind you to do self-checks. And men, Kathy's talked about this before, men can be affected as well. They can get breast cancer. So we talk about that a little, or just, you know, remind you to do self-checkups or go have mammograms if you haven't in a few years. That will just run for the month, 1st of October till the end of October. And what you do is knit anything, or crochet anything, or spin anything with pink in it. Majority of it has to be pink. It can be variegated, it can be striped, but just use your own common sense. If it's got a lot of pink in it, you know, there's lots of different shades of pink, so again, just if you think it looks mainly pink, then enter it into there. There's going to be fun prizes, as usual, Kiki Boo bag or 2. I'm going to sew some. I will say that I'll probably make stitch markers as well, but I'm going to ask, and I won't ask very often, I don't think, if perhaps you're an indie dyer, or you are also a bag maker, or you make stitch markers, or anything else, any craft that you perhaps do and sell on Etsy or anywhere. If you want to donate a prize for Pinktober, please get in touch with me. I would be so grateful. I just want to make this a really fun, you know, make it our biggest and more funnest, if that's a word, knit-along Pinktober, our biggest Pinktober yet. So get in touch with me if you'd like to donate. If you don't make anything, you don't have to be a crafty person, but if you still want to donate something, then still get in touch. Everything helps. I just think it'd be more fun that way. I'm in a different location, as you can see. The battery died on my camera, so once again, Denise wasn't organised enough. I didn't plug it in last night. I'm charging up my phone, which is where I do the recording from, but and I'm watching a hummingbird, so I'm distracted. Squirrel! I'm using hubby's phone now so that I can finish off the show instead of waiting for a few hours for my phone to charge. I have my little co-host here now though. See? Oh my goodness, you tired? Did you miss Mummy over there? Did you miss me? Okay, let's position that and carry on with the show. I think I was talking about, let me get the messy hair situated. I was talking about Pinktober, and I think I got to the part where I said any donations, highly, highly appreciated. With that, let's move into spinning. I have spinning section again. I think the fly followed me over here. Alright, Bindi, I can't pet you at the same time. Spinning. This is what she does. Watch. I'm busy. I can't pet you. That's what she does. She's a little spoilt. Excuse me, I'm going to be bending down a few times. This hair's driving me nuts. Because I brought everything over in my basket and just dumped it at my feet. Okay, spinning. I finished the... and I forgot where it was because I need to get the tag for it again. It was the Rolags I was, or the Poonies that I was trying to spin single ply. This is it. It's just the bit that's tied. Bindi, I'm busy. What? What? Do you want to see my Poonies? What do you think of that? Eh? You don't care, you just want to look at Mummy. Here, I've done single ply again. I'm not sure if I like it. I'll move that. I love the colours, obviously. I'm just not sure I like the single ply, the thinness of it, or where it's going to. It never goes into focus that close, I don't think. But again, like the other one, like the thick and thin I've been doing, it's a little over plied, not plied, it's just overspun. There's some wrinkles in it. But it looks a lot more, not mauve, you're seeing a lot more of the purpley hues, the violet hues here. I don't know, would I be able to ply it now if I put it into a cake with two ends? Would I be able to ply it now, or is it too late? I did the hot and the cold to shock it and set it as a single ply. I don't know if I should mess with it anymore or just cake it up and try a little shawlette with it, single ply, like lacy. If I turn the camera around to show you the hummingbird, I just know it would disappear. It's not as close as what I had last night, so I won't bother. Okay, so I'm happy with it, and I want to cake it up and perhaps, knit with it. I think, I'm just not sure if I'll carry on doing single plies unless it's the thick and thin. I do want to try thick and thin again. And how do you indie dyers skein up your yarn so perfectly? I just can't do it. I can't twist it tight enough, and if I do, once I start trying to get it in, the ends, it just doesn't seem as if it is tight enough. It seems tight enough like that. Oh, and I can't even get my finger out, but once I try, goodness, I should edit this, you don't need to see me struggling. It's just never, no, it just doesn't look right there. But anyway, it does look pretty, held right up close. So that was spinning this week. I finished that off. I have some more, this hair's driving me nuts. I have more spinning I'm going to get on the wheel, and I'll get to that in a little bit. So let's see what's up next. I'll move that because I want my iPad in a second. Okay. What's new in the queue? I know you want to know what's new in my queue. I've put something in my queue this week and I love it. This is what I was talking about. So much to knit and I just don't have enough time. But let me show you what I found. And it's already up on my page. I'm like, oh, but it's frozen. Oh, so I'm wanting to, there we go. Now this is just the top. It's a sweater and it's called the Flower Sweater. It's by Yulina Murak. I want to say Murak or Murak, M-U-R-A-C-H. And let's see if I can get rid of the glare. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So different. I've not seen a sweater like that with this on the front. There is, let me show you the back. It's actually got the same pattern on the back. I'm trying to get rid of the glare. I think you're still seeing a glare. Sorry. And it's a DK weight yarn. I think it might be cotton. I haven't got my, I was going to pull my glasses down. They're not there. It's DK Sublime yarns they've used. Oh, getting hot. Where's Bindi gone? She's not at the door to go in. Boo was just out, but he went to the door to go back in. This is an adult version, and I was looked. They actually do a cardigan, and if I am quick enough, I might be able to bring you the cardigan up. I think, well, the cardigan doesn't have the front on though. I should lean towards a cardigan, because that way I can take it on and off a lot easier. Gosh, I feel like I look red. Yes, I'm having a hot flower cardigan. It comes in a cardigan version, same, I think it's same designer, and it's got a child's version of the cardigan. Okay, so this is the cardigan. The front is completely different. It's very pretty though. I like to enlarge so you can get the... Actually, sometimes we do full screen and it goes to a black background. It looks a lot clearer too, look. Isn't that pretty? That's the front. And then I'll see if I can go along. And the back has got the flower on it. So I wish you could see this silly dog. No, she stopped. Perhaps not. She's going to do it again. She's stopped. She's rolling around on her back on the carpet. Here she goes. Here. Where is she? She stopped. I'm making a hash of that, so never mind. So that, I have put that in the queue. Don't know when I'll get round to knitting it, but I just loved the flower on it. There she goes again. Bindi, now you're going to knock the camera. This is what she's doing. Bindi. No, she's ignoring us. Book talk. Let's talk about the book we're reading, or some of us. Patterns in the Sand. I've started it. I did get some reading done this week. I don't think I'm up to date. I don't think I'm where I should be. I'm not sure where I should be because I didn't work out how many chapters we should have read. I am on to chapter 11, and I will say, I'll put the bookmark thing back in, I am enjoying it. I will say, to me, it seems like this Nell is the sleuth once again. Izzy doesn't really get mentioned a lot. And the inside cover actually doesn't mention Izzy specifically being the investigator kind of thing, you know, the sleuth. It just says that the whole Seaside Knitters, let's see, they just talk about them as a whole, not one particular person. Which I think in the first book it specifically said that Izzy and her friends tried to solve the murder. But to me, it's Nell that always seems to tries to solve the murder. So I am trying to get this read as well as trying to knit, and here is my plan. This is what I was talking about earlier. I want to try and do what quite a few of you are doing, and that's listening to the books, the audio. I'm having a problem though. I wanted to try a free trial of audible.com, but apparently you're only allowed one book a month. I think that's the way I read it. $14.95, one book a month. And if you want more, and now I have got a big ant crawling next to me. There he is, look. If you want more than one book, you have to buy them, I think, and they're like $30 for one Audible book. So I'm not sure. In the book thread, the read along. I know some of you are doing Audible. I'll have to go back and read and see what you were using, or give me some ideas like what do I try, or how are you listening to your Audibles? This is booking me. Hold on, let's keep sticking it. How are you listening to your Audibles? Give me some ideas as to what to do. The reason I want to try this more seriously this time, because I've never really done it much, is because I don't have to stop knitting when I'm reading or listening to a book. So I have this to finish, and I have to start the book for the Neighbourhood Book Club. This month's read is, I'm trying to off the top of my head, The Silent Wife, and I need to get started on that. So I thought, you know, I should at least try to have a book going that I'm listening to. It might help me get through a lot more reading and not stop me from either sewing or knitting. That's my plan. But if you're still reading this, thank you for carrying on, joining in. I know some of you probably finished again, because once you start you can't stop, and that's fine. I'll hopefully catch up. I know I say this every week, but now that company's gone, Kristen's back in school, I really want to get into some kind of a routine. So we will try and we will see what I can do. That is book talk. Let's move into, I've got to bend down and get stuff out of my basket in a second. Show and tell. And can you hear the hummingbird whistle? That's him. Show and tell. Lots to show and tell. Last week, just after I recorded on the Wednesday, I checked the mail and got a package. So I couldn't show you, I didn't have anything last week, but this week I've got two packages came. So I'll show you the first. I'm going to have to bend down and get a few things out. I might chop this bit out and get it all situated on my knee, we'll see. Okay, I'll see if I can grab it all. Okay, I was kind of expecting this package, I just didn't know how soon I would get it. A few weeks ago, the lovely Deb from fondantfibre.com, who has kindly donated one of the prizes for the July knit along, which I'll be drawing at the end of the show. We got talking and decided to do a little swap. Just Deb beat me to it. Now we've got two hummingbirds fighting. It's very distracting. Deb got to it a lot faster than me. She packaged up some goodies, and she did ask if there was anything in particular I would like sent from England, and I can't think of the word. Normally I would say no, I feel bad asking for things, but I did say I had an idea that if she sees any little sweets, and I mentioned some of the kinds of sweets, candy, that I used to eat as a kid, I told her about some of them and said if you see anything like that, I'd love to have some. And I thought it would be a fun thing to kind of chat about the sweets we have at home versus the candy here as well. I might leave that for next week, the differences, because I'm going to talk about the differences in cake at the end of the show. But I will show you the sweets that she sent me, and I've actually been very good and not eaten them all. In fact, some of them I haven't even opened, but some I have. And now I have to, Kiki keeps getting into them as well. Everything's new to her. So with that said, I just want to say a huge thank you to Deb. I was just blown away with the rest of the stuff she put in the package. A lot more than I actually thought was coming, so it was a huge surprise. The first thing, she asked if I would pick something out of her shop, similar to like the winner is going to be able to pick either some fibre or a skein of yarn from her shop. She asked if I would like to do that as well. And look what I picked, and this is where I'm going to be starting on the spinning wheel very soon, like tomorrow or this afternoon. I'll try and lift it all up. Look what I chose! Lots of poonies, I want to call them again, but they are a pink. It's called Pink Gradient, and I think there's 5 different pinks It's a merino silk blend. It's 100 grams here, which I think is 4 ounces. I checked that once before. But we have the light pink, and then, oh, I'm trying to get, hang on, it's all wrapped up with the ribbon. There you go, get that one off. And then it goes to a little darker, and I think a lot of the white, like the other stuff I spun, is the silk part of the fibre. And then it goes to a little deeper red, pinkish red, and then, oopsie, it moves into almost like a burgundy wine colour. And the very last one, if I can keep all of them, is just a little deeper, I think. It could almost look the same, but I think the fact that it's 2 separate things, I think this is just a little deeper, if I've got that the right way. And isn't that just amazing? I will be starting that. Let me put it back in my basket. I was thrilled to see that. I mean, it looks even better in person. And this is what was a huge surprise. She gave me some yarn in its favourite autumnal colours. And look, it's got a pretty brown ribbon through it. And then look at this. Don't you bark, Bindi! I didn't pay her to do that, you know. Look at this. Look at the little charm. Oh, I wish this would focus. There, it might focus. It might look better there. Little acorns. Isn't that awesome? This is a superwash merino with cashmere nylon blend, 4-ply sock. And it's so soft. It's the cashmere, I guess, inside there. Oh, I just love it. I can't wait to... I don't know what I'm going to knit with it. I don't always use sock yarn for socks, so I have to come up with something else that I would like. It was just fabulous. And that's not all. Deb actually sent me one of her bags. Isn't that... I love the colours. Little houses, little church. I just love them. It's like pastel colours. And it's like a peachy pink, this, and then it's got this gorgeous aqua blue. And where is it gone? Look at, there's another little charm on the end of here. Bindi, don't you dare bark. It's got a little house, a door, and a key. I love it. I love it. I've never seen anything like that, with a tiny little key. So that was what came in the package. I'll put the envelope down. And I want to see me sweets. Okay, we don't call it candy really in England. It's still sweets. And if you're talking to little babies, sometimes it's sweeties. Do you want some sweeties? Hold on. And this is going to crinkle because I've got it all in a bag. Look at this. Okay, I think I'll take them all out and put them on my knee so I don't crinkle the bag anymore. I'll show you the 2 things that's been opened first. Okay, these, and all of this is what I used to eat as a kid. Refreshers. I will explain kind of quickly that refreshers are like what you would call Smarties over here. That's the closest thing I can call it. And now to an English person, Smarties are something completely different, and I'll show you that in a second. But they are, they're bigger and rounder, but I think we used to get these in a small size like the Smarties. So I'm not going to stick one in my mouth because then I won't be able to talk. So there's refreshers come like that in a tube, and then these, oh my god, I couldn't believe when I saw these. Parma Violets they're called, and again same kind of thing, not hard candy, but you know, it's like it's that chalky kind of candy. This is a very mild violet colour, and oh my god, they're actually perfumed. They smell like, not women's perfume, but like a flowery kind of scent. It's hard to explain, but those I used to love. These are giant, the Parma violets. They used to come in a smaller size as well. Kristen loves them, but I had to keep telling her not to eat them all because I wanted to show you all. Then, so moving, I'll show you the Smarties. This is what we call Smarties, and they are like M&Ms really, just slightly bigger. I just realised I opened the wrong end. This looks like it clips, it pulls off, there, it snaps off, look at that. I opened the other end. And these are them. And they've got chocolate in, so they're candy coated with chocolate. These are my Smarties. These are from Roundtree, the company. We say it's Roundtree's, I think. Oh no, it's Nestle. This one used to be Roundtree's. Nestle. But these are Smarties. I used to love that sound. And the camera cut off there. I don't know why. If it cuts off again, I'm going to stop doing this and probably try to finish tomorrow. I'm using hubby's camera or his phone, and I don't know if it's out of memory. It doesn't look like the battery's dying, but I don't know why. It's just gonna. I said at the beginning of the show, it's going to be one of them shows or one of them weeks. This is just not running as smoothly as I would like it to. Carrying on though, I just want to. Gosh, I'm not even on to. This is still show and tell. I have a Cadbury's fudge, which is chocolate covered fudge in it comes like this little tube, well not tube, it comes like that. I then have what we would call like a toffee, and this is called Refreshers as well, but this is the toffee version, and it's like a lemonade-y, no, lemon flavoured chew really, and that's in a big strip though that you pull off. And there is the other chews that I have. You've probably never heard of these. We used to get these little chews, and they used to be like a penny each, or even half a penny when we were kids. One is called Fruit Salad, which is like a fruity kind, of course, and this one's called Blackjack, and it's kind of licorice flavour, and I love these as well. I can't believe she put those sweet little things in. And similar, still on with like a chewy toffee thing, this is on a stick, and this is called a drumstick. Even though it's not really a drumstick shape. But she sent me two of them, which I'll be now hopefully able to eat. I've got one packet, I've not opened these, for me bananas. We used to get these in loose. In like your sweet shop, you would be able to go in and pick the little chews and some of these foam kind of bananas. There would be shrimps as well, there'd be a pink shrimp shaped thing. Hubby said he thinks these are more like jumbo peanuts. So I think what might be fun is, I don't know if I'll have some of these left by next week. I thought I would try and go find and buy some of the American candy that's similar and compare them or show you. It's just a thought, I'm not saying for definite. The other thing, one last thing that I didn't even ask, and I just squealed when I saw it. A sherbet fountain. Now what is really funny about this? This is a little tube of sherbet. It's kind of fine, it's not grainy like sugar sherbet as we used to have, it's fine. This has got a little plastic cap on top, and then I had to curl this down because it wouldn't fit back in. This has got a licorice stick, and you would lick it and dip it into your sherbet. The funny thing is, when I was a kid, the packaging is the same. It used to be yellow. We didn't have a plastic top, and we didn't have it sealed. It was actually a cardboard tube, obviously, you know, had a bottom to it, and it was wrapped in paper that said, you know, this design. It was wrapped in the paper, and it was just twisted at the top, and the actual licorice piece would stick out. I think now they've obviously thought, you know, it's a lot more hygienic to seal the candies, perhaps. But I thought that was funny because it was just completely different packaging on the top when I was little. Nobody thought anything about having an open packet of kids' candy, sugary white stuff when you think about it. because there's not grainy. I mean, you're going to be able to see it. It's like very fine. It's almost like confectioner's sugar, which we call icing sugar. Just a little bit grainier. Ooh, but it's good. So, that was one package. I don't know how long this is going to take me to get through show and tell. Thank you, Deb. I just was thrilled. I just felt so... Makes me feel very special that you would take the time to put so many goodies together. So I can't thank you enough. And I didn't even show you these. I had some few little tea bags in to try. One is mint, nettle and peppermint. This is a revive and revitalize lemon and ginger. It's from Twinings, or I think we call it Twinings, not Twinnings. And a chamomile, honey and vanilla. Now, I'm not a huge, big tea connoisseur, but I love to try different ones. So I'm going to look forward to trying them. Still on with show and tell, and now oh, it's down here if I can pick it up. Excuse me. Okay. And can you believe I'm now using my phone again because hubby's kept stopping, and I'm not sure if it was because the memory was full or if it needs the battery charged either. I'm determined to get this finished though, so I can edit and have a podcast for you guys today. So thank you for bearing with me, although once you watch it, it's probably all going to be seamless because I'll have edited it. We were still talking about show and tell, and I got another package this week which just blew me away. I was totally not expecting this one. And it was a package from the sweet Marlisha, as I pronounce it, Marlisha. And she is Lady Furnicore, and she is co-host of the Penhook Needles podcast with her daughter, Talia. I love their names. I love that name, Talia. I think I'm saying it right. Am I saying it right? Talia. That's how I pronounce it, and I think it's a beautiful name. Marlisha sent me a package I totally was not expecting this week, and it was just a note. It was saying it was just a because gift. Just because. And I just felt so loved. Thank you, Marlisha. You know, sometimes words can't even express. Thank you is never enough, if you ask me. But, okay, stop waffling, Denise. I want to see what she sent me. Marlisha crochets. I know she knits as well, but she crochets a lot of things. And look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? I can't crochet. I could probably figure it out how to do the simple stitches. I just never do. I never have the time. But this is a long, as my mother-in-law wanted to call it, infinity scarf. I've just always called it a cowl. I'm going to try and put it on over the hat. And it would double. I'm not taking the hat off because the hair is absolutely a mess. So I'm going to do it like that. But I will be wearing it like that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh. And she knows I love pink, which is why she did pink. I'm going to tip it down so you can see it all. Isn't that beautiful? I don't think it goes with the orange, personally, but I just love it. I can't wait to wear it. And it won't be long because our mornings, let me tip this back up again, our mornings are getting really cool, chilly almost. 50-something degrees in the morning, so, you know, it feels like autumn, I have to tell you. And not only did she send me that beautiful cowl, she sent me some yarn, pink, 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 pink. And this is like this is a cotton, I think it's 100% finest cotton. And it kind of looks like what I call mercerized, but it doesn't say that it is, it's just cotton. And it's a lovely, that's quite true to colour, it's like that cerise kind of pink. And it's called King Tut. Never seen this kind. But I'm going to have a look and see what I can what I would like to knit with that. And just a tiny, I think these came, I don't think I got the tea bags mixed up. Marlisha popped in a couple of little tea bags as well. Two of them were this, White Christmas. It's a white tea and it has peppermint and ginger root. And then a Prince of Wales tea from Twinings. I've got two of each, and one just wanted to throw itself on the floor. I was thinking, here's what I'm thinking. Thank you again, Marlicia. As I said, I'm not a huge tea drinker, but I love trying different teas. And sometimes, in order to try a tea, and I'm looking like so red again, in order to try tea, I have to buy a box of tea bags. You know, they'll come like this, individually wrapped. And sometimes I might not like it. And then I'm stuck with a box of tea. So I thought, it just popped into my head when I was thinking about showing you those. It would be nice. I'm not talking about a tea swap. I don't want to, do a proper swap thing. But I just thought the next, I had to stop again. I got a text, and I don't know if that's what causes the delay. I'm not sure, but I stopped it. That was my hairdresser. I'm getting my hair done tomorrow, just coloured and refreshed. She was just texting to confirm the appointment. Hopefully no more interruptions until I get this done. So I was saying about the tea bags, and I think what I will do, and I thought maybe it's a nice idea, you might think about doing it as well, and now I'm getting the itchy nose. I thought the next time I pop a little note card in the mail to a friend, a pen pal, whatever, I might pop a couple of tea bags in, and then they can try them, and that way, if anybody's writing to me, if you're watching this and you do write to me, and you have any little separate little tea bags, pop one in for me and I'll be able to try a different tea. I think that is a super idea. That way I don't have to buy a big box or a normal box of tea bags just to try one. So I'm going to do that, and I just thought I'd share it with you in case you thought it was a good idea and you did it as well. If you don't write to me, if you're not one of my pen pals or anything, but you do write to other people, or you have other friends that you drop a little note to, do it to them. I think it'd probably be a nice little surprise if they get that in the mail. Alright, with that said, moving on, I think it is time for girly chatter. I remembered the pictures, but I got to lean forward to get them. And I don't want to pull the bookmark out. They were in the book there. Okay, past couple of weeks I've said I wanted to chat about cake, wedding cake in particular, and the difference between the American, the American cake, excuse me, the American cake and the English cakes, wedding cakes. I wanted to show you pictures first, because I mentioned the other week I got into cake decorating quite a few years ago. It was when I was still in England, and I did a wedding cake for my best friend for her wedding. I didn't make any other wedding cakes for anybody after that. I did keep going to some classes, and I made a few different cakes and flowers. The fondant flowers, the ones that are like a hard fondant that goes hard. And I think Sarah from Apple Blossom and You podcast, she does a lot of cake decorating, and she was recently shown a fondant rose. And I think the one you showed, Sarah, was hard. Did it harden up, with the fondant paste? I think it did. The way I used to do them, you would actually make them on a stem. So you would be able to make lots of roses, lots of small little filler flowers, and then make up a bouquet. Now, my picture is not very clear, unfortunately. The wedding was well before I had a digital camera, so it's actually physical pictures, and I don't have them on my computer to show or enlarge, a digital picture. But I was going to see if you could see it. This is, she just wanted 2 cakes. I did, and if I get closer it's just going to blur, I'm sorry. I did a little bouquet that we wrapped around the knife to cut the cake. And then I did a top bouquet and one for there. And these little green, these are individual ivy leaves that I made from the fondant as well and coloured them. It's not very clear. I've got one more. These are the only 2 I could find, to be honest. This one, you could see the bouquet on the top, and she's put her flowers and mine. I was the only bridesmaid. that she had. I wish that wouldn't go out of focus by doing that, but anyway, I wanted to show you that. I covered the cake with, gosh, I don't even know what you call it now. I covered the cake as well. I rolled out the fondant, you know, the soft fondant. You roll it out and cover the cake, and then the flowers on it were hard. You know, they harden up and I made a bouquet. So a couple of things I wanted to say. When I was getting married in America, I was living in England, and my mother-in-law was organising my wedding, believe it or not. And we just had a small affair. There was only about 20 people there. None of my family went over to America for it. And I still remember to this day, she was asking, and that was about 17 years ago, she asked me what kind of cake I wanted for the wedding. And my answer at the time, I was a little baffled why, of course, the answer would be, I want wedding cake. That's what we call fruit cake in England. Wedding cake or Christmas cake was very, very often, in fact, there was nothing else when I was, way back when I was living there, wedding cake or Christmas cake was actually a fruit cake. And lots of Americans laugh when we talk about fruit cake because for some reason it gets a bad rap over here. And actually, if I can, while I'm chatting, I don't know how long this is going to run this week, but who cares? I didn't know why fruitcake got a bad rap here, and there was a standard joke when I came to America that there's only one fruitcake in America because everybody re-gifts it, and it's the same fruitcake that goes around. That was the joke I had heard. Then when I saw what fruitcake was over here, I realised why. I'll never eat fruitcake that comes from America. It's just not the same kind of fruitcake we're used to. Our fruitcake is a lot more dense, a lot more fruit, which is generally raisins and currants, as we call them, and sultanas, which are white raisins, because you don't actually get sultanas here. So I'm going to try and pull up for you in England, show you what the inside of a fruitcake looks like, and show you the difference between that and an English one. I'm getting both of them on this page right now that I've Googled. This is what I saw when I was first shown American fruitcake. Yeah, there's nothing like fruitcake to me. Fruitcake's very dark, and it's not a white cake kind of mixture. And they come in logs, I think. I don't know why it's showing me fruit. I'm getting fruit and flans here. So let me skip back. Fruitcake to us is more like this. I'll show you. This is wedding cake and Christmas cake. You can see it in a slice. It's much darker, and it's usually got fondant icing and a marzipan base. That yellow you can see is marzipan, or almond paste as we call it. And the white around that, which is quite bright on the screen, is the fondant, the top layer. This is what it looks like when it comes out of the oven, and I've done this a few times at Christmas, and that is it uncut, and what they're doing there is spooning into the cake brandy. And that's, I might have talked about this on my podcast before, that is what we call feeding the cake. I think I'll probably talk more about this nearer Christmas again, the traditions of making Christmas cake and why you feed it the brandy. The other thing I wanted to mention, which was the differences between the English and the American. So it turns out that my mother-in-law was asking me what kind of wedding cake because, and they might do this in England now, I'm not sure. You generally pick different flavours of cakes. You'll have and it's often like a sponge cake. You can have a chocolate cake with frosting or, you know, cream in the between. You could have a white cake, or you can have what they call marble cake, which is the white and the dark chocolate colours. swirled around. You can have carrot cake. It's different cakes underneath, but the icing is obviously what makes it look like a wedding cake. I'm never very good at explaining things. But, oh, what else? Where was I going with this? Don't bark, please. I did end up getting two. She kind of explained the differences on because nobody would have made a fruit cake back then as a wedding cake in America. I ended up with a carrot cake, which when I tried to describe what fruit cake or wedding cake was to my mother-in-law, she said carrot cake was the nearest thing she could think of, because it's got, like, you know, the spices in it and the cinnamon or other kinds of flavours. And I do like carrot cake. It is one of my favourites. So I had carrot cake, and the other one I think was like marbled chocolate and vanilla looking cake. And then it was decorated. What I didn't do was bring a picture of the cake I had in America. Might do that at another date. I'm not sure if in England you do pick different kinds of cake. Back when I was young and I was a bridesmaid for my sisters, I have two sisters, I was about 10, we had what you called wedding cake. It was fruit cake, and the tradition was, once the bride and groom had cut into the cake, they took the cake away and someone in the kitchen would slice it into smaller, small rectangle pieces. They would put it all on a tray, and the bridesmaids would walk around the reception giving the guests a piece of cake. That's what we used to do. We did not cut the cake and then pick up a piece of cake to feed each other and then shove it in their mouths or on their nose or whatever. That is an American tradition. I've not seen that done in England. I've seen it done in the movies where, they hold a piece and you feed your groom and the groom feeds the bride a piece of cake. We didn't do, well, I did that in America, but I've never done that, never seen that done in England. The other last thing, because I know I'm waffling on about this, goodness. Back in England, the top tier of the wedding cake was often reserved for the christening of your firstborn. And they would actually freeze the cake, wrapped it well, froze the cake, and assuming that your baby was born within a year or two, generally they expected, way back then, babies were born a lot sooner, and you'd be pregnant the following year, so you would use this top cake as your christening cake. It would come out of the freezer, and I think if you took it to some professional cake decorator, they would actually, from what I've heard, kind of chisel away the hardened icing on the outside and the marzipan almond paste stuff, and they would recover it. The cake was perfect. The cake tasted, great. It froze very well. They would just refresh the outside, the frosting or the icing. In America, they do something similar. They will freeze that first cake, but they generally will use it for their first wedding anniversary. And I'm assuming that's because babies don't come along as quickly as they used to do. Some couples can quite easily, wait 5 years, even 10 years before they decide to start a family. Excuse me. So that is a difference as well. Now, again, I've not lived at home for over 17 years. They might not do that anymore, freeze the top and wait for the baby for a christening. They might freeze the top and do anniversary thing as well, or they might just not do anything at all. With all that said, that is what I wanted to waffle on about wedding cakes. Because even though I've lived here for many, many years, there is always still differences that are not necessarily unusual, but I just find interesting. And if I think it's interesting, it's something I often want to share with you. So with all of that said, that's the end of Girly Chatter, which this week actually brings me to the end of the show, because I've got no Kiki Boo Bags updates. The shop is closed until September 1st. So nothing to show, nothing to really talk about. I just really want to get hopefully get sewing and have things ready to put in the shop come September. I want to thank you for joining me. I want to thank new viewers. If you've lasted this long, thanks. After this, you're going to be able to watch the drawings for the knit-alongs, and yeah, whether I will see you or talk to you next week. I hope you have a fabulous week, and I hope you come back next week and join me in the organised knitting den. Bye guys.